GM, we are live. We are back. Guess what? It is Tuesday. And man, markets are taking a little bit of laying off the pedal, off the gas, but that's okay because I'm bringing to you guys what's happening over at the Backwoods. This game has been on the Twitter timeline. People are talking about it in Discord. They're talking about Leaf. I needed to get the 411. I need to bring Vidar on to find out, hey man, dude, what is happening over there? But before I even start, man, how are the vibes at the studio right now? What's everybody high-fiving about back in the at the Backwoods Studios? Give me the back end stories right now, man.
Well, I can tell you one thing. We are not responsible for the market downturn. I'm definitely not shorting it with 1000x leverage. So don't blame me for that. But what we are doing is we're building a lot of stuff on the back end here on the game. We got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of new campaigns for the community, and a lot of new features coming, as well as, the upcoming TGE for Leaf. So a lot of stuff going on.
Dude, give me the icebreaker. What's the game that you grew up playing? And what's the game that gave you that inspiration to get into Backwoods?
Oh, I'm a boomer. So my very first video game was actually Command and Conquer, the original one. So this was a really long time ago. But the games, a lot of these games back in the day, you had stuff running on MS-DOS, on Amiga, and some of these games. But when you had like the small sprite games, right, like Command and Conquer, and you were playing a lot of RTS games like that, like Age of Empires, Warcraft 1 and 2, you had this isometric view where you could kind of bring your champions around, the heroes, the little guys. And it's very similar to sort of the top-down view of how you're going to use your hero in Backwoods. It's a very similar view type as that. Different type of game, right? It's like a roguelike, but it's very similar in the view as these kind of retro games from the early 90s. So a bit of a throwback.
Yeah. I mean, definitely showcasing your age there, because I'm only in my early 20s. Can you tell? And I haven't heard of these games because, again, I would have been minus 20 years old. So
thank you. Yeah.
I'm 38 years old, so you just brought me back to like, man, some of my past right now, and I'm quickly thinking of like where I was when what I was doing when I was playing some games like this, man. It's crazy. It's crazy to see them come back, but it's even crazier to see the craze behind it. It still brings that still nostalgic feeling. It still brings the community together. It still brings you kind of like, hey, man, play with your friends, enjoy with your friends, conquer with your friends. And the blockchain technology could do certain different things that, man, if we had that in the 20, 30 years ago, where we would be with technology, again, powering games. Backwoods. Give me the origin story, though. Give me that 411 of like, somebody's new listening to this. We've seen it on the Twitter craze, but what's that message right now you're sending on what Backwoods is?
We've been developing the game for years now, and I know a lot of people there in the community have probably seen us years ago, and they tried out Backwoods. They're like, oh yeah, Backwoods. And then we've been building the whole thing in the background for a long time, and we kind of went silent for a while. But really, the whole message of Backwoods is, hey, get in the game, compete against your friends, play with your friends, get back to that old feeling. A lot of the games that are out there now on Steam and on mobile, they're going back to the retro games, right? We're going back to away from the AAA stuff and back to stuff that's just fun to compete with your friends against. And that's really what the Backwoods is all about.
Yeah. Where do you see right now? The game's been in test. You've gotten a lot of feedback, community stuff. What's the current buzz around the game right now from the feedback from the community? Like, what are things that you guys are already like, man, wanting to implement or going back to the drawing board of like, dude, that was a great idea. Oh my God, we have to implement this. Or, hey, man, like just positive feedback that you've received.
Oh, that's a sketchy question, because if I start pumping out all the stuff that we're talking about in the background now, especially stuff that we've heard from the community, everyone's going to think, oh, my thing is going to get implemented now. But I can definitely say we've seen a lot of the ideas that the community has had, and they've had a lot of really interesting ideas for new features, and we've been bumping those around in the background. So definitely look forward to those, because we're tossing around some stuff in the background to put out some of the more community focused stuff that everyone wants to see for new features.
Dude, I love it. Look, man, you guys have been straight up cooking. It's really cool to see. Give us the 411 on Leaf, though. Like the way you
Sure.
designed Leaf to be an extension on the browser to play with the game. You're taking to a game, but also you're gamifying it in a different way for people to get engaged. Love that aspect of it. But give us really kind of what's that thought process, and what are you guys going to see being able to go further than the season 1 or the first iteration of the game, right? Is this allowing you to also open the doors in partnerships and bring on different partners with this gamified approach?
Yeah, so Solana, the whole Solana ecosystem is really intertwined with the X ecosystem, always has been. We have a lot of people on there constantly talking back and forth. So we thought, hey, what better way to get the community involved and to get people involved doing treasure hunts and more gamifying the whole process of an airdrop than to doing it over X, right? Because that's what really Solana is all about. It's all about grassroots, not all these huge companies doing this or that. It's about the people, about the users, right? About the gamers themselves. So we decided, hey, let's do this whole massive airdrop campaign that we're going to do before the TGE just to reward all of our loyal and active community. I think that's the best thing you can possibly do as a gaming project on Solana. So we're distributing 150 million Leaf tokens to over 500,000 different wallets. And it's going to be one of the largest community airdrops in Web3 gaming, period, that's ever been done. So we have early adopters, we got our OG players, all these guys that are getting in there for the closed alpha testers, the early community testers. We got, strategic partners. We have all that stuff. So of course, the token opens up a lot of opportunities for us to expand the game and the feature set of the game, which is really the whole purpose of it. But the best part is that we just get to get the whole community involved in playing the game and enjoying it while, getting involved in the airdrop.
Yeah. I think that the community has been so receptive to this, but also at the same time so involved, and I've been really truly enjoying that. Like I've been really studying what you guys have been doing, because I thought, like, man, this is unique. It's a little different. It's not your typical like rollout to a TGE. It's not your typical rollout of a game. It's not your typical rollout of, hey, like, shill, hype. It's a lot of, hey, like, get involved, participate, level up, and then be able to participate even further. And I think that, man, you're really rewarding gamers to an extent that is getting them involved in ways that they've never gotten involved, right? I'm seeing some of these gamers just tweeting certain things, and I'm like, that's because of Leaf. But at the same time, I get it. Where do you think right now this progression system can go? What are you thinking the progression system that you're building right now is going to bring to the space that we have not seen before?
I think most of these projects haven't been getting the gamers as enough involved in the actual ecosystem itself. It's more, hey, I want to bring in users just so I can say I have X amount of numbers that are playing my game. And then once they start playing the game, they're just doing it because they want to play to airdrop, and then they leave, right? That's why we don't want to intentionally overhype the whole project, right? The whole purpose is, hey, come and play the game if you enjoy it. Are you having fun? Then keep playing it for Leaf, right? I think that's the whole purpose of Web3 gaming, and to try to get mass adoption with the title in general is we want players that are playing the game because they want to play it, right? Not because they're trying to search for a bottom line or this or that. So I think that's where the space is headed in general, is getting real organic players that really just enjoy playing your games, and then you can reward them for that long term.
Yeah, and I think that's just been something that's been missing in Web3. Why do you think it's been missing in Web3, and how did you find to solve that?
Web3, I think over the past couple of years, especially since 2021, where we had that massive NFT run-up, has been extremely extractive. And not just from user point of view, but also from the point of view of a lot of the projects, unfortunately. The projects want to get in, they want to extract value, right? They're not there to make a long-term game, a long-term system, and a long-term ecosystem for the players. They're just simply not. And it's really unfortunate. So I think the way that you solve that is really just over time. The players themselves and the users of Web3 have to see, what are these projects that are going to stay? What are the projects that are going to continue building through the bear? Not leave, keep building, pumping out stuff, giving us fun and engaging features, right? Stuff that we want to see. People that can actually interact with the owners of the studios and say, hey, as a community, this is what we want, right? And then we can develop towards that. I think that sort of intimacy is also something you could never get in Web 2. You can't just go talk to a lead dev of a studio. You can't do that.
I mean, as much as you tried, as much as you sent those emails, and those emails were going to a call center and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible. But I mean,
Yep.
Look, man, that is the beauty of Web3, right? We've been able to solve a lot of things in Web3, and yes, that community aspect of building in public and building with your community is something we've preached about in Web3, and you are being a testament to it a lot further here of, hey man, like, let's listen to you guys, let's find out what you guys want, what you guys need, but first let me build a game that's going to give you that, right? Because I think that was the first thing, like, hey, a lot of these games have not been at that point where we've been able to say, hey, I'm spending 2-3 hours a day playing the Backwoods, right? Like, I know it because I see the guys constantly. I go into certain discords and I'm like, what are you playing now? And it's like Backwoods. And I'm like, okay, what are you trying to achieve right now? And he's like, I gotta get to like, the golden what is it, the golden loop. And I'm like, dude, like, I haven't even gotten to any of these levels. I just suck. And I'm just like, okay, I'll just watch you. I'll see what you're doing. But I see the mentality. I see the psychology being played out in gaming. I see the psychology being played out in marketing when you're building this. And to me, that is the missing pieces when it comes down to gaming, right? Because why would somebody want to become a marketer of what you're playing, right? Something that the user end journey is missed in Web3 constantly is you want to make sure that user becomes a marketer, right? At the end of the day, like, yes, let them enjoy the game. That's basics 101. Like, we know that. But in a marketing aspect, it's why Disney, it's why all these big brands, they want you to like go tell everybody in your mothers, wear the t-shirt, go to Disneyland. And I think, like, hey man, how do you build it? How do you replicate something like that in gaming? And I think,
okay, let me tell you something. In 2005, World of Warcraft came out. Okay. They had marketing, right? There was Mr. T on TV, they had Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne, Prince of Darkness playing the game. But before those commercials actually started coming out, when the game was first released, all of it was word of mouth marketing. Is because people were playing the game, they went home, they went to school, their high schools, and they said, hey, you got to play this game with me. It's super fun. Let's go home. Let's play the game together, right? And that's grassroots marketing, grassroots evangelizing of your hobby. And that's where it needs to start. You don't want to go and say, hey, we'll give you $1 million if you market our game. That'll make a really short-term marketer for you. That's someone that's not invested and doesn't actually enjoy the product. You want someone that's going to go home and say, hey, let's play this together when we get home. Let's compete. Let's go play through the levels in Backwoods. I bet you I kick your ass. You're going to lose tonight. So that's really where you want to get the players to. You want them to enjoy it. And again, like you mentioned, that's why we built the game the way it is. A lot of projects that get into Web3, they try to immediately go toward the AAA thing, right? I'm not going to name names here, but they do, and they spend a lot of money doing it. And a lot of the time, it's just not successful because people forget what makes a AAA game successful isn't necessarily the people that were in the studios. You can pick people from Blizzard. You can pick people from Riot Games. You're not going to make the same video game because it's the flywheel of the actual ecosystem in the developing studio that makes that game so polished in the end. So if you go so hard for a AAA title, you're going to totally miss the mark. Make something you can develop, that you can polish, and that you can put out somewhat rapidly, and then you can iterate on that for what the players want. That's the goal of this. So that way now we can make this way more community focused because we have the baseline of the game already done, right? So now we have all these community campaigns that we're doing. We're doing Daily Survivor every day where we have people go in the Discords and do creative questions. Everyone wants to get the survivor role in the Discord. So there's a lot of different ways to get it too. You can do in-game moments showcase, the weekly community arena. We just have a lot of new campaigns that we're coming out with for players to enjoy.
What do you like? Man, you made me really kind of like spark another conversation, but I don't know if we have the time for it. But I guess my question to you would be is more of like, with that said, where is the on-chain gaming aspect of being able to take on the bigger boys, right? Like the AAA. This is a perfect example of something that can take on that, right? Based on the dynamics. So where do you see that vision for it?
Having a token is extremely useful in general just to push forward the development of the game. But overall, if you're talking about Web3 gaming and the way that this could develop further as a studio when we're putting out more titles as well and more stuff for the players to enjoy, the best way to do this is to not use so much of buzzwords when it comes to this, because most players don't understand Web3 and cryptocurrency. In fact, they may see it as a negative because there's a lot of negative connotation to this, unfortunately, right? But we do have extremely, extremely good tech when it comes to the back-end framework. So we have chains like Solana that can You can do so many transactions in the back end simultaneously that it's just so great for gaming. And if you're using that as a framework for your game, for say player-to-player transactions, or for player, another thing is for just player services. So let's say you want to run somebody through a dungeon or something. Hey, I want to pay you for this dungeon run. It's so scammy now. If you do that in any MMO now, you're going to get scammed. They're going to take your money. But we have smart contracts on Web3. So you could use a smart contract that completes at the end of the service. There's so many actual ways to do this, including with wallet attribution as we move forward toward that, where we can just have the whole system running in the background, just everything running off Solana in the background. No one will even know. No one will even know. They'll just interact with blockchain completely autonomously without even thinking about it. I think that's the way forward, and that's how we're going to get most Web 2 people to play the game.
Yeah, you hit it on the money. I do believe that technology has always been at the back end, right? We never talked about, hey man, are you using a 4K TV to play this game? OLED monitors, all this stuff, right? Like
Right.
you just improve that because you want a better experience in the game, right? You want a more immersive experience in the game, so you go and
Sure.
seek whatever that is. It's same thing here in blockchain, and I think like as the guys call it, chain gaming, right? It's like, yeah, like whatever you want to call it, cool. You understand why it exists to give you that experience, and it's so super important. With that said, so you mentioned where the game is, you mentioned a little bit about the vision, the roadmap, but let me ask you, where do we see is a life with multiplayer, esports, competitive gaming? How do we progress to that? Is that something along the lines that you guys are also very much watching to say, okay, how do we raise the stakes now, right? How do we bring this to another level that we could bring more players in and get more, could be attention, partnerships, could be awareness, whatever that looks like. Is that something that you guys are very much like magic on the 8 ball,
I think that's always something that any project that's successful whatsoever should be looking at, especially even in the medium term, is, hey, how do we get players to be invested in tournaments and then stream that so that we can start moving people toward esports? Because that's really what genders a lot of attention, just in general, from a lot of people, is get people streaming it, get people streaming tournaments. This also happened. I mean, I'm going to use it again as an example because it's just a great example. But we had a bunch of streamers that stream classic World of Warcraft, which, was an old server, but then came back. And it wasn't affiliated really with Blizzard except implicitly. And they had this whole tournament where people would go in, and it was called a mock Gora, where you would build up a character over the course of a month and then do 1v1 battles to the death. And your character would perma-die. And I thought that was just so cool. And it's like, okay, sure, let's give you a pot of gold at the end. And you guys, whatever, level up as fast as you can. You make a new account, you level up as fast as you can. And then at the end, you just duel to the death. And we'll have you do a run. And whoever gets the most points, that's it. And the other person gets their account deleted. High stakes.
Dude, brilliant, right? I mean, like, that is the high stakes that is missing. And I think
Right?
man, we could do that. We could optimize that. We could actually bring that. Because man, like you think about the crying that we have on Twitter right now. And
We
like,
need more crying.
yeah, like this would be the ultimate crying. And because like the answer is get good. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, stop with the bullshit. Get good at the game. Man, last thing I want to talk about, Leaf. Tell me,
Sure.
where do you see Leaf with a aspect of improving the player's experience, right? We know what tokens have done to games. It's been very extractive, right? It's been very, hey, like, take it. How do you make this not be the complete opposite? Because you have a good game, right? How do you make that game still stand after Leaf to give elements of saying, hey, progression's still there. You still need to progress. You can't extract it. We saw a lot right now with football.fun and what they did, right? Crazed all over the timeline and whatnot. How do you able to see the same thing what they did with what you built here at Backwoods?
Okay. There's a couple of ways that TGEs typically go. I've been in cryptocurrency since 2011. I did mention I'm a boomer. So let's be really blunt about it too. I think we should just be honest as much as possible. When it comes to games, you can give people play to earn rewards. You can give people staking rewards. You can give people contributor rewards, governance rights, whatever you want. If someone isn't invested in your game and says that, hey, if I keep my tokens, I may get more in the future. They will sell it. It's very, very simple, right? So, for the interest of all the people listening to me right now about this, I'm going to tell you this, and it's going to be very, very simple and very blunt. If you sell, you are going to regret it. Now, this happened a long time ago. I know this is something that, Alex Becker said when Neo Tokyo came out, right? Sellers will be in pain. Sellers will be in pain because once I came onto the team, the guys that built Backwoods in the back end and have all this, this history in the back end, they are very, very kind people. Okay. I'm not. So I had to tell them, guys, there may be people and they may sell your token. They're like, really? So I'm like, yes. So what we're going to do is we're not going to tell you all of the stuff that we're building in the back end. We're just going to do it. And then we're going to deliver it. So it's a low promise and then high deliver. So once we deliver it and you sold, I'm sorry, that's on you. But I can tell you that the reason why the team is only taking 1% of the allocation. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these other projects take maybe 15 to 20% team allocation, right? There is a reason for this. It's because they want the players to go in the game and they want the players to spend in game. So their whole purpose is to build this game and then get money from revenue. They get paid from the revenue of players playing the game. So if they don't make the game great, they don't get money. I think that's the best incentive for a player you could ever think of. It's like the team's actually not going to get paid if they don't make the game fun. So, I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, and how do you see Leaf though, in the sense of the game itself? Like, where does Leaf actually fit into the game? Right? Is it based on the points? Is it the leaderboard that you're mentioning? Is it kind of like the progression based on that? Is that how Leaf will be played within the game, or is it Leaf kind of going to be an external way? We're seeing a lot of games, and I'm saying I see a lot of games trying to figure out how do you put the Web3 component on the outside for the Web2 user if they want to leave the game or exit the game. There's a component to it. Is that Leaf? Is that the way you're kind of designing or looking at Leaf because of the way you just mentioned it?
To some extent, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think
it will still be used in game, obviously. Like a lot of it's going to be in game too. But yes, we want to have the whole thing, full ecosystem for the players to be able to spend in the game. All the NFT trades are going to affect your roguelike runs as well, and Leaf is going to be a part of that. So everything's going to be integrated with the token. It will be necessary to be used in order to progress.
Yeah. Man, dude, it's been awesome jamming with you for the past 30 minutes or so. Got to ask you the $1 million question. What is that message you want to send to partners on why they should definitely reach out to Backwoods right now? Why should they send you a DM right now and say, how do I partner with Backwoods? How do we get to Web 2? What's the message of Web 2 partners? How do we say, without saying blockchain, crypto, NFTs, whatever the hell that we make up in this space?
The best way it's a two-part question. So when it comes to Web3, I can say that we're probably one of the only actually community-focused gaming projects in the space. And because we're on probably one of the best blockchains for gaming in the space, which has the biggest community for gaming in general, to be honest, and when we're the only one that's not intentionally extracting, we're taking 1% and we're not even selling it. We're intentionally doing this to build revenue for the game. So we are 1,000% focused on building the player base for the game and building out the features for the game. To be honest, I cannot say that for any of the other projects that I've really even been a consultant for, just being fair. And as for the Web2 investors, you cannot use the word Web3. You cannot use the word cryptocurrency. The best word to use is actually one you mentioned, but you want to frame it in a different light. You can use blockchain as long as you're using it in a technological context. So if you say, our game is essentially, for all intents and purposes, it is Web2. And it can function on its own in Web2 if it weren't for the token, right? If you were to shunt this off onto mobile first, no problem. The thing is, though, it has a blockchain framework, which means that if you want to have player-to-player asset ownership, right? Just asset ownership on chain, everything's an open ledger. So if you're trading things on an auction house or you're trading things player-to-player, all of that's open ledger, all of that's on chain, it's all transparent. So players own their own assets, and it's perfect. That was one of the main issues with the World of Warcraft auction house. All of that had to be built in-house, and the players you never owned your sword. You never owned any of that. It was just going through, it can be taken from you at any time. That's not the case with Web3. So you're going to get real ownership of real assets. Playing the game gives you real value. over time. You're not just wasting your time for achievement points here. You get real value for your time spent. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that a Web3 investor could hear, because what they want is an invested player base that will build value for them and build value for the brand over time.
Love it. I love it, man. Look, hey man, so if I decide to start playing and I win, I heard there's like some video of you dancing out in Singapore or Japan, wherever we were last time you and I were together. And
who told you this?
Hey, I think we might have to, raise the stakes.
Oh man,
I think I might have to go into the cell phone and start archiving some dance videos, man.
Oh man, no, please.
Look, Vidar, look, give me the plug. Where should we follow you? Where should we get involved? What's the website? For those that are new watching this, they're into the Backwoods. How do they keep up with everything that's happening at Backwoods?
You should follow the Backwoods Twitter, Backwoods.soul, at Backwoods Soul. You should also go to app.backwoods.gg. If you want to follow me, you can. You don't have to. I'm at a Nordic Raven on Twitter. You can follow me if you want. I have some very long-term projects coming that also may impact the space. Who knows? Some other stuff, but it's up to you. Yeah, I'm not forcing anybody to do anything.
Well, man, we appreciate you coming on. Looks like a lovely day wherever you are, man. So
I'm on the Spanish coast. Okay. Yeah.
Enjoy the
jealous.
sun. Enjoy it while it's hot, because we're all here inside in heat because the market is going down. So different type of heat. You are experiencing the fun heat. We're experiencing trying to figure out when the next bounce is going to happen. But Vidar,
hey, look. I'll tell you this, the $15 billion that BlackRock bought into Ethereum, they haven't sold it. So
you're giving us the financial advice. I love it. Look, brother, it's always been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on. We're definitely going to give, a follow shout. It's been great to learn more about Backwoods. The whole Twitter timeline has been talking about it. Much congrats to you guys and the team, and to the next stream, man. To the next time I see you as well.
You go to Korea?
Hey, I might have to go though. Now I might
have to go. Week. Yeah, all okay. Right. I'll tell Sam to force you.
All right, man. Peace out. Have a good one.
All right, brother.